Welcome, 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 everybody, to Voices Behind the Mask. A lot of technical difficulties this week, but guess what? We're going to do this. Whenever we see technical difficulties on Voices Behind the Mask, we know that this show is going to be off the chain. Am I saying that all the shows are not always awesome? No, I'm not saying that. But when we see the technical difficulties taking place, I do apologize for all the technical difficulties that we have been having this evening, but the show must go on. The show must go on. And I am none other than your host, Alicia Foote. Welcome, everybody, to Voices Behind the Mask. And I know, as usual, you're asking this question: what is Voices Behind the Mask? Well, Voices Behind the Mask is the talk show that unmasks real people that have some real stories that are intended to impact, and not just impact your life, but transform your life. And so this evening we have with us a special guest. But before we go to the guest, let me tell you a little about some of the things we've been doing. We have the VIP lounge, and I hope that you have subscribed, because you need to come behind the scenes with us. After the show, it's only 30 minutes and we're meeting. You'll get the chance to rap with the guest. From time to time, we do give away prizes and surprises. And also you get a chance to hear the input of our in-house mental health practitioner. And so you need to go and ensure that you subscribe to the VIP lounge. Do we only have a VIP launch? Oh no, we are also on YouTube. And you need to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, especially if you are a first time, you are coming on the show for the first time, you need to subscribe, because when you subscribe, you're able to watch all the episodes that have been going on since season 1. And guess what, guys? I just realized, I wasn't even thinking. I was like, oh my God. So we are at episode 9. Today is episode 9, and we missed 1 week. And if we did not miss that week, we would have been at episode 10. And so you need to ensure that you go ahead and you subscribe. And there are a lot of other things that we're doing. There is a course that is coming up, the ASAP business plan course, because a lot of people just get up and say, oh, I'm starting a business. And when you get out there, you cannot find your customers, you have marketing problems, and a lot of things are taking place. And you're like, oh my God, I need to find somebody to help with marketing. I need to find somebody to help with customers. So guess what? There's this one course that we're pushing out here on Voices. And that course is going to help you to effectively plan your business. And if you cannot do it by yourself, you can use the link that is going to be in the chat, and you can click that link and you can make an appointment to see me, because I also do business coaching. And yes, I have been trained. I have taught entrepreneurship for a couple of years in high school. And yes, I have also been coaching individuals to get their business to another level. So I wear many hats. I'm your host, but I wear many hats. I'm a transformational coach as well. And you will also hear from some of my clients as time progresses. So listen, there's a whole lot of things going on. I tell you, we're coming back with Voices bigger and better, and we're doing this all for you. And the intention is to ensure that you go, you grow, and you glow in your purpose. And if you thought last week's episode was off the chain, I'm telling you, grab onto your seats, because this week's episode had me holding on, because I had to do the pre-interview. So I was just sitting and just taking in everything. So I get double. You get it once. Well, when you go on YouTube, you can watch it over and over, but I got double, And so today we have a special guest with us, and her name is Connett Pinnock. Connett was born in Jamaica, but she now resides in Canada. She moved to Canada 30 years ago, and that's a long time. Some of us, I know that some of you on this line, you're not even 30 yet. All right. She's a single mother. She has 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. And she inherited a puppy from her son. And she's very outspoken. However, so she's an introvert and an extrovert. And I tell people that I'm an introvert and an extrovert. So Connie, you and I are kind of similar. So she's very outspoken, however shy. So she's outspoken and shy at the same time. And yes, people, it happens. And she loves to cook. And what I hear, she just told me, their bio just said she loves to cook. But what I hear that she's an excellent cook. All right. And professionally, she is a dental administrator, and she loves to laugh and have fun. And she is that person that anybody and everybody wants to be around. So I give you none other than today, Connie, Connett, Pinnock. Give me a minute. I tell you, we're having some technical issues today. Let me get Connie on screen. Connie, you can open.
Okay, there you
Open your microphone. Trying to find you. I don't know what's going on.
go. Right.
All right. Okay. All right. No fault of yours. Like I said, I know when we start having this is whenever we start having these type of technical difficulties on voices, we know that the show is going to be awesome. All right. Welcome, Connett. Welcome to Voices Behind the Mask. Welcome. It's a pleasure having you with us today. So usually we start the show by asking some questions, and those questions are the relaxing questions, the questions that you can just sit back, relax, and just,
Okay.
and those are called dodging questions. And I bet you, that there's no other show that has dodging questions, because these are just so unique to Voices. All right. So I'm going to ask you a little about, because I've never been to Canada.
Okay.
I know that there's some Canadians on. Woo! Kudos to you, but I've never been to Canada. And I know that I have guests who are on who have never been to Canada. So my question to you is, you went to Canada 30 years ago. What are at least two of the major differences when you look back on when you just got there, and what it is like now? It can be social, infrastructural, it doesn't matter, just enlighten us.
These are really dodging questions. 30 years ago, when I came to Canada, I came for a visit. I'm just gonna start with that. I came for a visit. I decided I'm not gonna go back home. I'm nervous.
That's fine. That's okay.
Things has changed. I would say, I wouldn't say drastically, but things and time has changed. For example, I'm going to use the gas price. When I first came to Canada, I remember gas used to be 23 cents, 13 cents, 18 cents per liter. Now we're paying $2.09 per liter. But I don't know if that answered your question.
That's enlightening.
So yeah, you kind of caught me off guard. So
no, that's okay. It always happens. That's the intention. Like I said, those are the questions. They're called dodging questions, because the hope is that nobody else has ever asked you those questions. So that's fine. That's fine. So we hear a little about the gas.
Yes,
that is enlightening, because I'm here like, whoa, sense.
oh yeah. And it's way different than what I'm used to in Jamaica. I left, now you're gonna figure out my age, when I was 23 or 22, I believe. And as a Jamaican, you say, "La, Jamaica hard." But for me, I think Canada is harder, because the weather there in Jamaica is nice. Here in Canada, we have snowstorm, hailstorm, all kind of different storms, and you have to get up out of your bed to go to work.
Oh, yes.
You must. It is imperative for you to have a job. Whereas I'm not saying that Jamaicans don't have jobs, but they're more laid back, and as the majority would say, no customer service training or skills, all that good stuff. Here in Canada, it is so different. So yeah, that's my little take, I think.
And that would have been, and so you answered my second dodging question, which was, you know, making a comparison between the Jamaica you left and the Canada that you saw you're living in now. So that would have been my question. Okay. So let us get to, you know, the meat of the matter, if we can call it that. You know, the reason why everybody is now gathered and looking on and saying, okay, what's the story? You know, what's the deal here? My question to you first is just tell us a little about what it was like, just growing up, where you grew up in terms of, could be the countryside, you know, Kingston town, wherever, you know, and what was life like at that time?
Well, I grew up, I'm not a country girl. I'm a city girl. You know, everybody asks, where are you from? And everybody say, I'm from Kingston. I'm actually from Kingston, a place called Seaview Gardens, close to 3 miles,
Yeah.
or close to half a tree as well. That's where I would say that's where I grew up. I spent sometimes in the country, like let's say if you know school is on break, then I'd go to the country. But I'm a city girl. I am also the youngest of 7 children, and I grew up with my mother, a few of my siblings, and my father. Um, Life wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. My mom was a principal slash teacher. My dad's a mechanic. So she, you know, they both made sure they provided for us. However, I think it would be safe to say, and not, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my mom who's not on this podcast, but it was rough, toxic, rough. You know, most back then, parents, mothers in the, like, were born, let's say in the late 30s, 40s, you know, they rule with an iron fist. And my mom was like a drill sergeant. She was, it's her way or the highway.
Mhm.
My dad was more relaxed. Yeah, he was more relaxed. For me, he was more relaxed. So I I'll just leave it
All
right.
right.
Keep in mind, I laugh a lot. I laugh a lot, especially
That's a good thing.
when-
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Um, well, I'm flip-sided. If you know me, you know that I'm always laughing about everything. If you don't know me, you think I am just always serious. You know, I've had students in the past who said, you know, I never wanted to come to your class because you look so harsh. But when I got there, I was like, oh my God, she's so nice. So yes, that's fine. Laughter is good. So let us talk, you know, about a little about as a result of, you know, your mother being that drill sergeant, you know, you had to go through some stuff alone because, and that came out of fear. You know, tell us a little about that. And you can take your time.
You know, I'm gonna make one correction. I wouldn't say I went through it alone,
Mhm.
because as the more I talk, you'll hear me talk about God. So I hope that's okay with everyone on this
And
podcast.
that's good. Don't make an apology because I listen, I say God right through. I don't make apologies when I talk about him. So go ahead.
You know, with God, I, I would say I have to give him all the credit for where I am today,
Mhm.
because truth be told, I've never had this conversation with my mom. If you notice, I'm playing with a pen because I'm nervous. I've never had this
That's
conversation
fine.
with my mother because as old as I am, I'm going to be truthful here. I have a fear for my mother because her words are venomous, or they can be very venomous. And because of that, I've never spoken to her, let's say about a boyfriend or if I like a boy, because I know what would have come. And the beatings, the words. So I grew up being fearful, reserved to this day. And I also, because I'm so fearful and reserved, I would protect my mother. I'd protect her feelings. You know, I don't want to say certain things because I don't want her to get upset. I don't want her to be mad at me. But I've learned that doing that has also caused me damage.
Mhm. So as it relates to the damage that you just mentioned, can you elaborate a little on that?
Emotional damage, psychological damage, physical damage. Like I said, I've never ever had this conversation with my mother. Never.
Mhm. All right. So
Um,
tell us about, you know, some of the things that you went through. And let me rephrase that. No, you went through these, whatever you went through, it was just you and God.
Me and God.
Um, tell us about those experiences.
Well, give me a second.
Take your time.
Um, you know, I cried all
And
day today. I cried most of the morning today because I was a bit nervous. Has a bit nervous to share. I'm not going to say a story, my truth.
mhm,
I was a bit nervous to share my truth because, you know, I grew up with my mother telling me that her grandparents told her that if family secret or anything that happened in the family, you'd use a white sheet or a white skirt to cover over it. So she never really got into much. But this morning I called my older sister and I said to her, you know, I'm going on a podcast today and I'm going to share my truth. And during the conversation, she said to me, she said, Connett, you don't need to convince me. I believe you. It is the truth. So with that being said, I I need to let go of a 10-year-old girl that was raped,
take your time.
molested, raped, molested. You're right. It started when I was 10 years old. I was living in Spanish Town on Cardiff Place, 3 Cardiff Place. I remember it's a Sunday afternoon. I believe my mother and somebody was outside talking. There's a front room. There's a mattress on the floor. And I remembered it happened to both me and but I remember him or knowing of him when I was maybe a little bit younger than 10 years old, but I'm going to stick to that age. And for him, it continued for years. Now, mind you, I'm going to Duane Park Primary School. And that's the first time I remember him. And why I said rape and molested, because it's not a fondle, it's not a touch, it's penetration. Penetration to the point where I remember something warm running down my legs. The back room. There's 2 beds in the room. You know what we call divan bed back home. We don't use our single bed or double bed. We call them divan bed. So his bed is over to the his bed is over to the right. All right. And there's another bed over to the left. I'm using my hands to, you can, if you want, you can turn me on the camera. That's okay.
Can somebody from tech turn the camera back on, please?
So there's like a little space in between both beds. And I remember
okay. You're on mute, Connett.
my daughter is on click here.
All right.
Yeah, I'll, like I said, there's 2 beds in the room. I'd put a comforter or a sheet, but something thick. My mom used to travel, so we had bedspread and comforter and all that good stuff. So I'd wrap myself, but I'd wrap my head, leave my nose out. I'd put my hand like this. So one hand shouldn't, and I'd be laying there, just peeping to see. And he would come in, this would be late at night, and he would try to take the comforter or whatever I'd wrap myself in. And he would pry it off me and he would have sex with me. I couldn't share that with anybody in my household because sex is the forbidden language. You don't talk about sex. You don't go to your parents to talk about sex. And, it happened for a very long time. And I remember I used to write him little notes. I'd, rip a piece of paper and write on him, can you please not do this to me tonight? And I'd just go to the room and throw it on him. And I'd go off to school.
Oh my God.
The following night, he would do the same thing again. One of the things that stuck with me is I remember it was August. And I wanted to go because my sister was living in the country in Portland. I wanted to go, where they were. And I missed my period. I can't tell my mother. I can't tell my father. I can't tell nobody in the household. My mom was away. I went into her bedroom and I just started to cry. And I remember I just flinked myself back like this on the bed. And I said, God, if I'm pregnant, this child is gonna call me a secret. But it's not just him that has abused me. I spoke of him mostly because I've learned that he treated me as if I was his girlfriend. So he would, all these sexual favors was as if he's coming home to me. Looking at the camera, I'm there.
You're good. You're good.
So where we live, you gotta cross over. It's like a little canal, but this road, the canals are left and right, the road, you go down like a little slope. and the rain started to fall. It was rainy season and we were soaking wet. We were on the afternoon shift. And I said to my sister, you know what? Let's turn back. Or we decided to turn back. And we turned back. It happened in the kitchen. And he caught himself and he's like, you know what? I'm not supposed to do this. It never happened again. I never remember for support to come on. Hector's River.
Yeah, no, I know Hector's River.
I remember it happened there. And when he moved to wherever he is living right now, I remember it happened there. How many times it happened? I can't tell you. But my old and years until a girl started coming over, it eventually stopped. So it continued from Duane Park Primary School until St. Catherine High School. In maybe, I'm gonna say, I think it's safe to say about third form. It stopped when I was in third form. But, you know, during this time, I buried it. I never thought about it. I never shared it with anybody at all in my teenage days. Never shared it until I came to Canada the 28th of June, 1993. I think I came to Canada. And I met a guy, the father of my children. You know, you come, you decide to stay, and I'm the papers, and he decided he was going to help me. But there's days I would go home and he would be there and I'm like, oh my God, why are you even here? I just hated man. Honestly, I thought I would be a lesbian because he said to me, you have some lesbian tendencies. And I would agree because I didn't like men. I despised them, but I can't explain why. And he would say to me, something traumatic happened to you. And I would get so upset. You know, what kind of trauma? Would I, you know what I mean? I just act the fool until one day I said to him, you know what, let's try marriage counseling. And he agreed. And we went, got in, it was a gentleman. And the first thing I said to the guys, I was molested. And he's like, what? You can't do any marriage counseling. You have to deal with that first. And that's when I met Egla Schneider, the first counselor that really took me to some uncomfortable place. Because at this point, I still didn't remember exactly what happened, but I knew I was molested.
Because you suppressed the memory.
That's what she said. You suppressed it so deep, and it's as if you lock it so deep within your subconscious that you can't even remember. And I remember one of the sessions I went to, she said to me, today, I'm going to take you to a very uncomfortable place. We're going to find that little girl. And she handed me a box of Kleenex. I don't know if it was a trance. I don't know what she did, but I remember the last thing she said at the sound of my voice. And I knew I was curled because when I got out of whatever trance or whatever, I found myself in a corner, in a ball-like position. And then she starts to ask questions. And that's when everything started to open up. Of 7 children has molested me. I don't know what it feels like to say I lost my virginity. Because I don't know who's responsible as a child. Now, mind you, I have 2 boys and a girl, and I see how my sons protect their little sister because the boys are older. And I wish I had that. And not just that, I wish that I could go to my mother and say to her, this happened to me. You know, About 9 years ago, my sister Merle had a birthday party back home. It was her 50th birthday, and she said, Connett, you know, Mama, you come. I went to Jamaica with my daughter, and my sister that just got murdered a year ago, I was leaving to go do some laundry by my uncle's house. And my sister said to me, no, man, give me the laundry. Me go do it for you. I came back and I'm calling my mother. No answer. For 3 days, I'm calling her. I'm like, I just want to make sure she's home safe. No answer. I remember it was a Friday night. I called and she finally answered, yes. And from I heard that answer, I know she's not in the right frame. Something's going to happen. So I'm calling, you know, answer. The first thing she said to me, you give plumber clothes to wash? I said, yes. You never know, say her aunt's sick. I said, oh my gosh, I totally forgot, but I gave her $1,000. She said, me not talk about the money. And that one conversation grew to the point where my mother sent me a text one day. I was driving and I heard, like, she's texting me and I'm not responding because I've never disrespected my mother. I've always protected her. And I remember I'm driving and I got a text. And when I look down at the text, like I'm driving, but I'm what she said. But my mother, who found out later, because the first time I said it to her, she said, no, Gossa, if something did Gossa, you'd have tell me. I hung up the phone. The second time I said it to her, she said, me know why you're nothing. It was my sister. My sister would ask me, it's not that she didn't believe me. Let's say in the year 2000, she'd say, Connie, what happened to them do it to you? But I never told her about the other two until just recently, maybe about 3-4 months ago. I was coming home. I always call her and we chit chat while I'm coming home because she's in Florida. And I said to her, like, we're talking, and I can't remember what she said. And I said, oh, I've never shared with you what they all did to me. And she said, what do you mean by they? And I kind of, you know.
Oh, you're muted. Let me see. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of redirected the question. How's your day going? And then she's like, don't worry about my day. What did they do to you? Who touched you? And I said, yeah, I'm just coming in from work. I'm so tired. She said, Connett, I'm asking you a question. And eventually I just started crying and I said, you know why I never spoke of the other two? A lot of times, oh, I must say this today. I wore an orange shirt because orange is my favorite color. And I wanted to be comfortable because it's a very uncomfortable situation for me. Because like I said, I've been crying all day. You know, when that type of trauma that happens in your life and you don't have the support or nobody believes you, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes the course in which your life turns is not the best. And I must say that today, just sharing, you know, when I saw when Tamara posted, my girlfriend posted, I said, I want to be on that podcast. Because if I can help but one person, not two, just one, to know that it is okay for you to share, to release that inner child, because I'm carrying this child around with me from relationship to relationship. And it has allowed me to be in some serious abusive relationship, whereas I'm fearful of my partner. You know, I found myself in a relationship, and he is the second. I'm just thinking, while I'm talking here about the abuse. I wouldn't say the second, but the relationship, I would say it's one of the most abusive relationship that I've ever been in. I spent 3 days in a mental institution.
Mm.
Prior to going to the mental institution, I had planned my own death because the beatings, and I'm thinking about my brother. I'm going to give you something to calm your nerves because my right side would just shake like this. And I'm going to give you some sleeping pills. But you see, God knows our heart, He knows the very thought. I went to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist said, I only have 3 of those are very strong sleeping pills. I only have 3. Would you like to take the 3 and I'll call you with the rest? I said, okay. I went home. I took 1. Never slept. The morning I woke up, I said, you know what? This is too much for me. I'm going to end my life today. I called my oldest son and I said to him, I said, Ricky, I want you to take care of your brother and your sister for me.
Mm.
I'm going to ask you to go downstairs, make them breakfast, and make them lunch. Because when you come home, I won't be here. I took a second pill. Mind you, you're supposed to take 1 a day. So now I'm like in and out of consciousness. He left. I called my sister. I have a sister. I have a sister here in Canada. I laugh because that's, I have a sister here in Canada, and I called her and I said, Judy, I want you to call my mom and I'm asking you to take care of my kids for me. She said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to sleep right now. She said, what do you mean sleep? I said, I'm going to sleep right now. I'm just asking you to help the kids, okay? So I'm going to tell you bye. I'm going to sleep. She said, no, no, no. Who's home with you? I said, I'm by myself. I just want to sleep. She said, where are the kids? I said, I told Ricky, I gave him my mom's number. I gave him your number. I'm going to sleep.
Mm.
And I could hear her saying to someone, call 911. She said, don't hang up the phone. You know I love you. I said, yeah, I love you too. But I said, life is just too much. I just need to sleep. My plan was to take the other pill because I know if I took 3, I'd overdose.
Mm.
And for sure I would. I just wanted to end it all. I really just wanted to sleep because the pain at home with my abuser or the abuser and with everything that
And
I've,
the memories that were still going through your
yes,
mind.
it's going through my mind. It was just too much. I've been in and out of counseling. Once it gets too intense, I must say that I have come a far way because I would have probably disconnect myself by now because the pain that I feel, it's in this, I can't describe the hurt, the pain, knowing that with everything that I was going through, I couldn't go to my mother and share this because one, me know for sure should have beat me because me I tell lie. And eventually, not only did she physically beat me, but she verbally beat me. I've never, ever said to my mom, you know, when you said this is how I felt. Never. Because I am so fearful, and it's the honest truth. I am so fearful of her words, how she would act, or just the venom that she would spew towards me, you know? And one of the things that I'm grateful for, and I live by this, 90% of the times, if you come to me with in a conversation, I'm going to tell you about God. Because had it not been
Mhm.
for God on my side, I have planned my death twice and I have failed because of my purpose. You know, I eventually confronted, sent, when I confronted him, I sent a copy of the conversation to my sister. And I didn't know that she kept it all these years. And I was talking to her just recently, and she said, "You know, I have the copy of, you know, the whatever you sent to me." And I said, "Send them back to me." I saw it, but I just couldn't bring myself to reading it. And the day when I confronted him, I shared this with you, Lisa. I was reading a book called The Purpose Driven Life. And as I laid there and reading the book, no, I've read the book, I tried to read the book before, but I couldn't pass chapter 2. I don't know why. I just stopped reading the book, but I've always kept the book. And this particular day, November 13th, 2005, I was reading the book and I got to chapter 6. And all I heard was a voice said, "Today's the day you face your demon." I got up and I looked around and I'm like, "What?" And I heard the voice again. "Today's the day." I know he's gonna deny it. And I got around the computer and I wrote, "Today's the day you missed between 10, 11 years old. We were living on Cardiff Place, Willowdale, St. Catherine, Jamaica. It was on a Sunday, if my memory serves me right.
Mm.
The first time it happened was with me and Sean. The molestation rape continued until I was in my teens and 1 second, until it was in my teens and stop a short while after. Live with this guilt on your conscience for all these years without apologizing to me, knowing that you have robbed me of my innocence as a child. The molestation continued while we were living in Seaview Gardens, and we had shared the same bedroom, the back room in the house. There were 2 divan beds in that room, and that's where it all happened. You continuously molested and raped me. There were times I would wrap myself in sheets. You literally fought me, held me down, pulled the sheets off, and forced yourself on me. I constantly begged you to stop and behave, but all you cared about was pleasing yourself, your disgusting self. I remember writing notes and asking you to please stop, but that did not help. The rape molestation continued for many years until in August, don't remember the year, I missed my period. I remember writing you a note informing you of this, and you wrote back telling me to let you know if I got my period. Thank God I did. And with all this, you still continue to force yourself on me, on top of me during the nights. The last note I remember that you have a girlfriend, to please leave me alone. And a couple months later, the molestation/rape stopped. Because of what you did to me, I learned not to trust anyone, especially men. You've
Mm.
basically ruined my life, and I hope to God that you can find it in your heart to come clean and ask God for forgiveness. This demon has caused me tremendous amount of pain, stress, and depression. Yes, this has contributed to my depression. I have also sought counseling for what you have done to me. You have created a monster out of me. I'm sorry, hold on. You have created a monster out of me, and for that I hate you. I forgave you for what you have done to me. I know the question in everybody's mind is, why did I not tell my mother? But put yourself in my shoe. I was scared, and you told me not to tell anyone. Almost everyone in the family knows about what you did to me. Yes, I eventually told my mother, and she did ask you, however, you denied. God made everyone with a conscience, and you do owe me more than an apology, but I will accept an apology from you. I hope after reading this email, you can find it in your heart to pray and ask God to forgive you.
Mm.
I'll read the last part. Because you know what you did to me. You molested and raped me for many years. How could you live with yourself? I did not help. And this part that I'm going to read is, I'll explain it before I read it. Several years ago, he came to Canada. And I don't know what his situation was, but my older brother called me. My second oldest brother called me and he said, I knew that was the right thing. May God guide and protect you as you face your demons. Demons equal molestation / rape. And those I capitalized. Why I use the word rape is because you repeatedly forced yourself on me, your feel about me. I was the only one in counseling, and I suggest that you seek help because you are sick. I hope there are no more victims. Me. This has haunted me for many years, but nothing happened before its time. Well, I guess your time is here and now. And his response to it is, all these things that were done to you, why did you not deal with them when we were in Jamaica? That to me is an admission indirectly of guilt. Bad mind, bad mind, I kill you. You think that I am going places now that I'm here, and you have been here wasting your
Mm.
time. Your mind need to be disinfected. Your demons is the BC, and he's accusing me of abortions that I've never had. There's expletives, that's why I'm not reading, because that part. The BC belly, them where you dash where, if you're in your face. It is now all over Kingston, Jamaica, and Toronto. Please leave me alone. I do not come your way. You don't come my way. You know that I did not molest you. You know it is your sins riding you. Why didn't you tell your mother or father? Liar. You know, you know where your sexual exploits started. You you know who molested you. Why don't you face your demons with him? Your sins will catch up with you. Your memory might be losing you. You forgot you came, listen to this now. You forgot you came into my bed many times. I was sleeping. One time, me and Sandra was in the room and you were looking through the window. And when Sandra left, you came in the room and wanted me to do the same thing I was doing with Sandra. You know you could not tell your mother because you know I was not molesting, or your sexual exploit started with you know who. You dare to face it with him. So you are trying to use me as a pawn and build up a story. Remember what you have done and all who you have your sexual endeavors with that your mother don't know about. Your mind is always corrupt, and it manifests itself today. So don't try to use me as your scapegoat. You know full well, let today be the start and the end. I do not want to see or hear from you. Get lost, you vulture. I didn't expect him to react any other way but how he reacts. And today, I feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulder. That little girl, that 10-year-old Connett, I let her go. I let her go. On this, I'm just going to throw this out there. On this podcast, there might be one of my molesters because I did send him a message. And I said, today I'm going to share my truth. This is the link if you care to join. And, with the encouragement of my sister, she said, you've been walking around with so much baggage, with so much pain. I had no idea that you were going through all of this. So I think it's safe to say that I have released that 10-year-old child that I've held hostage, because if I can help at least one person, if someone on this podcast, let's say they share, you know what, you need to go check out this YouTube channel, or any one of the voices can help one person, then we have helped enough.
Mm-hmm.
As them say, one cocoa full basket.
Yeah.
One cocoa of these messages of molestation. And, it's about time. I hope it's safe to say it's about time that we understand and realize that it's not our fault. It wasn't my fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the abusers will blame you, just like, how is it you never said to this person you're violating? But that is my that is my truth. My son is on, my kids have helped me a lot as well, because I also shared this with Lisa too. I was in such a dark place. I was very angry. I was miserable. I was tormented. I was hurt, and I didn't know how to deal with the hurt, the pain. So I directed it towards my kids. My oldest son, he would always ask me questions and I would shun him. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. And one day he said to me, why is it you don't want to talk about your past? I need to know about your past. And he was so persistent. I want to know more about your past, because I don't know nothing about you. You're my mother. I don't know nothing about you. What is your past? And I broke it all down. Because of the trauma. It is a traumatic experience.
It is.
The molestation, I have ended up into, like I mentioned earlier, some horrific, abusive relationships. I spent 3 days in a mental institution because of the relationship that I was in. I was beaten to a core. The said person, I would have been in and out of the hospital. I remember I'd go to the hospital and the doctor would say, it's cartilage damage. But they'll look at you sideways. What happened? Why are you so bruised? Oh, I got into a bar brawl. Oh, I fell down the stairs. And I'd make all these excuses because of fear. And I remember one day I left the hospital and I went home and I called the abuser and I said to him, I'm coming from the hospital because I was searching for something. I just wanted love.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted love.
I was about to tell you that. Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, come by my house. And I said, as I was a bit hesitant, but eventually I went. And if many of you know what a ratchet knife is, he locked me in a room.
Can you
And he
mute your microphones, please? Thank you. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Connett.
locked me in a room, and he had the ratchet knife all over my body, just jamming me all over my body.
Mm.
And I was screaming, but nobody could hear me because he turned his music up so loud to block out my noise. And then he raped me. Eventually, I got out of that relationship. But then I find myself in another
Another one. Mm-hmm.
relationship. The last relationship I got out of, it wasn't abusive, it was cheating and lies. And I remember I said to God, this is it. I said, God, I want you to add my heart. Because sometimes we have to talk rational, radical with God.
Yeah.
We
Mm-hmm.
talk, God understand every language.
Every language, patois, English, French,
He
anything.
understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to God and I said, God, may I beg you hard my heart. I want you hard my heart like a brick. Me no want a man. But then I say, when the kids them gone, me I go be lonely. So I say, here what God. Yes, I'm fi ask you for what I want. So me I ask you to send me a white man. And I described how I want the white man to look. Tall and slender, and he must wear a jacket suit. I say, you know what, God, I always a work, and then money when me help. See me, like how I'm saying it to you. This
Yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
God.
That's fine.
Me say, you see, darling, money will abuse me, and I've done so much good for them. You see, white man where I send my God, he must have him own business, because I got help him build him business. But then I think back to myself and I say, white man. All right. I went back to God. I said, here I know, God. You see, whomever you choose to send me, here are my conditions. They must can cook for me, because I'm always a cook. And I want them love me first. I say I don't want to love nobody, because I ain't got a reason now, So I do the hand gesture, I close my eye, me and him a whole of meds.
Mm-hmm.
I say, here what God. Him if he can cook for me, I want him help me clean. And I gave him a list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went to church. I got baptized and I'm in the church. Nothing now go on for me. And I remember about 3 years ago, I was in church and we went there, we saw a guy sitting down. And an acquaintance of mine said to me, Connie, see your husband, me say, me tell you, say me I look smarty. Me no want no man will come at church. Leave me alone, me fine. Then my daughter said to me, Mom, you don't like him? I said, no, I'm not interested. She said, I think he's a nice guy. Me say, you know him? She said, no, but me just think him is a nice guy. I left it at that. One day I'm in church and a guy was singing and I feel this person tap me on my back. I'm going to turn around. Him say, you can send me the video. I say, but me not have your number. Because now I'm annoyed. Because why are you touching me? I'm not interested. The initial girl that said, see your husband there. She came to me and she said, I see him have moves. Send him the video. I said, I said, send him the video. I sent him the video. Eventually, we became friends. So, he would text me a little good morning quotes. And one of the things that I asked God for too was a man that loved him first.
Amen.
I said, God,
Amen.
send me a man that loves you first. Because if he loves you first, Me not fi ask no question. He's gonna love me.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we became friends. We were friends for almost a year, and one thing led to another. And today I must say I am his wife.
Woo!
I I am his wife. And he understands my if you see any movement, my daughter is sit beside me because she said, Mom, you need support. you know, with everything that I've been through, I've got good days and bad days.
Mm-hmm.
But on my bad days, he's there to support me, to say, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes he'll give me a scripture or he'll say, Connie, pray. But something to uplift me. So out of all that I've been through, God has sent, and I must say, God, because if it was left up to me alone, I wouldn't even look in his pathway. I come home from work and my dinner is ready. I'm doing the laundry. He's bringing the soap. I'm going to the grocery store. He's pushing the cart. He loves my children. So, despite of all the bad that I've been through, in spite of all the hurt, the pain, the suffering, God never left me. He never left me. He's he's always there with me. He is able.
Amen.
So I'm before I this morning I was in the kitchen tidying up, and just out of the blues, this song just came in my spirit. I'm not the greatest a singer, but I think I need to share it with you because the words are so powerful. And it goes something like this: Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free, follow your heart. Live free, and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at the star. Stay free where no walls divide you. You're free as the roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Born free, and life is worth living, but only worth living 'cause you're born free. And when the song came, I'm like, why did he write this song? This song is about a lioness that had 3 cubs. She attacked her owner and they killed the lioness. They released 2 of the cubs, but kept one, and they nurtured that cub until they brought him back out and let him out into the wild to roam freely. So here I am today, roaming freely. That is my story.
Wow. Connett, you realize that I'm just here, just nodding my head, just shaking my head because usually I'd be asking questions, but we talked before, and I believe that you should be allowed to just tell your truth.
Yes.
Usually I say your story, but you should be allowed today to tell your truth. And I'm glad that, just like you said earlier, that just getting this opportunity to share on this platform. And I hear someone, Pastor Anita, saying powerful, Pastor Carlene said, thank you, Connett, for your truth. A lot of people are out there, afraid And I'm very, very sure that there are persons right now, on this platform who are saying, Elaine Goop says, wow, let me grab the chats because I'm trying to see, because this week the comments are just coming. She says, wow, it's like I'm watching a movie, powerful. Good evening and beautiful. I think she was basically saying beautiful song, I mean, the comments are just coming in. I just can't keep up. You might have to just read them, as you go as well. As they come, that's what I should be saying, not as you go, but as they come. God bless you and continue to pray your strength up. Karen said, I just want to hug you right now. And somebody else below that says me too. So I'm assuming they said they want to hug you. Janet put wonderful, thank you. Jess says that song brought everything together so well. And Johnson said, yes, this is powerful. Like I said, there are so many people out there, who have gone through similar situations, who are even today as adults, afraid to tell their story. Some years ago, I went to a conference and this elderly lady, that lady may be about in her 60s. You're grown and you are glowing beautifully. I'm in tears. That's another comment that just went up. And she's talked about her abuse. And she said a lady abused her. And I watched that lady in that conference break down at that age, because she said when she went to her, she laughed in her face. And so a lot of time, just like you, the persons don't want to admit that they have done wrong. In my own book, I had to share my own story too. And I've always said to people, I was never penetrated, I was molested. I was never penetrated. You talk about fondling. I remember I had this uncle who I was living with my dad at the time, and I was passing and going up the stairs, and he fondled me. And I remember when I don't remember if it's police or gunman kill him, I was the happiest person. I was still a child. And I was just so happy that they killed him. And I'm being honest. I never wrote about that in my book, but I wrote about the fact that I went, and I didn't go in depth, but I remember going to, we had a lot of property. And so another uncle came and he was supposed to tie out his, and I share this with you. And so, I'm sharing openly because I wrote it in my book, but I've never really shared on a platform. And so if you don't read my book, you would not know that I too have gone through the same situation. And fear is not, I had good parents, fear is just that you're a child. I was maybe about 9 at the time, and I followed him to tie out the cow, and he pushed his genital in my mouth. And I have never, it doesn't matter how old you get, the memories. And this is why I wrote my book, because so many people live with so much pain. And I was saying, and I told you, you answered that question for me, that the same day I was saying to God, is my book relevant? I was saying to God, yes, people are buying my book, but, I needed the feedback. Is my book relevant? And when I had, the conversation with you yesterday and we spoke and you told me a story, I was like, okay, God, you just gave me my answer, because he never answered. I was saying, is this relevant? Am I going to be able to help people? Am I be able to coach people through their pain? Because, we're all, I remember once I was at work in Jamaica, and a young lady said to me, you're always smiling, just like you, bouncy personality. That's how I hear it. That's how I hear about you, you're just always laughing. And she said, how? You say, you don't have problems. And I stopped. Never forget, a younger teacher. And I stopped and I said to her, if I start telling you my problems, I'll never stop crying. But I had to learn how to stand in my pain. And that is how I ended up writing my book, because I wanted people to understand that you can walk into purpose. Regardless of the painful situation that you have been through, you can walk into purpose. For you right now, you have walked into one of the most important things in your life. You're now in a relationship that is, you don't have an abuser.
No.
For the first time, this person is not a person who abuses you. And so that's a mighty pivot that you have made in your life. You know, and I won't say some of the advice I gave you because I stopped. Remember, I stopped and I said, I'm going to now advise you from a coach's perspective. I'm going to advise you from a transformational coach perspective. And like I said, I'm going to hold your hand. You know, whatever I told you, that this is now the steps that you need to take. We're going to take this journey together. I'm going to be there with you. You know, because I realized that you allowed me to realize, because I was like, okay, God, you know, I was just so excited when I wrote that book, said, okay, this is what I'm going to help people. And then I was like, okay, you know, the fear come over you again. And you're like, okay, God, you know, I'm putting myself out there as a transformation coach and everything. And you, I mean, yesterday was the day I was driving. You know, I went to pick up my son from summer camp, and I was saying, God, is my book relevant? And when we talked, I was like, okay. I said, okay, God. I said, okay. You know, people are out there that needs these answers. Connett, you know, you are strong. You are, you know, you are the epitome of who a powerful woman is. Because the truth is, brother, oh, it just came on, but I soon read some of the code. The truth is, you know, and I love the show too. I sat here and I knew the time was going. And I was like, okay, the show needs to end when you decide that your story.
Lift going down. Lift going down.
Could you please mute yourselves? Thank you.
Doors closing.
The show should end when you finish talking, because everybody, mothers on this line need to hear.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not casting the blame on my own mother. Like I said, as a child, you are fearful. I remember before my mother read the book, I had to tell her. And my dad is still not aware of what happened to me, because I know me that chop off and clean. You know, and maybe it's out of those fear of not wanting your parents to go to prison, not wanting, you know, and your brothers, your family, you know, and you so everybody on this line, and I'm not just talking to Connett right now, I'm talking to everybody. Everybody needs to, every mother on this line, every father on this line, every sister on this line, everybody on this line. Once you're a part of a family, you have to be aware.
Yes.
You have to be aware. You have to be protective of your children. And we are living in an age where you also have to be protective of your boys. And let me change that, because boys have been molested throughout time. And I said that to you because they are men, it is difficult for them to say, I've been molested, because it makes them sound less of a man.
Yes, it's true.
So you see a lot of people going out there and they're going into the homosexuality and so on. Some of them maybe would have been straight men, but because of what happened to them. So Connett, I can't tell you how grateful I am, you know, because you gave me the opportunity to, I knew I was going to share my story at some point on some platform. I never knew I was going to share it outside of my book on Voices. You know, but people need to know, we need to be able to stand and speak that truth. And we need to give ourselves permission. And if you're on the line today, give yourself permission to heal. Stop, give yourself permission to forgive yourself for taking the blame. Forgive yourself for taking the blame, because you never did anything wrong. If you're a male, if you're a female, and like I say again, protect your children with everything you have. I'm not only protective of my own child or my nieces and them, I'm protective. If I'm around, and maybe that's why I love children so much. If I'm around them, I am looking at everybody in their circle. I'm like that. People don't know, and I say this now. If you see me and your children are around me, if I'm in your house, I look at everybody in the circle. because you are now so aware because you walked the road. And I've always said, if I was never penetrated and I had to live with this all of my life, I cannot imagine, Connett, I cannot imagine what you are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because your thing was like a series with multiple.
Yes.
And it's like it was never ending again, you know, and I know that time is well spent. So I would just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody who is on today.
Yes.
For everybody who is on today. I thank you for me, and I thank you for everybody, and I thank you for everybody who is going to listen to this. You did not only heal Connett, start your healing process today. You have healed many. There are many that needed to hear this. There are many that needed to hear what you had to say. There are many who needed to start their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because the pain we go through, it is real.
Yes.
It is real. Wherever it comes from, it is real. And I again say thank you for just putting a stamp of approval on the fact that, okay, yes, this is what I'm called into. Allowing people, show them how to process their pain and walk into their purpose. So I know I can say openly, thank you. And I'm just going to read a couple more of the comments and then we close out. Time is well spent. I know we should have gone to the VIP room today, but we're not going to do VIP room today. I know that people are going to be a little angry with me for that, but it's already 8, so we can still do VIP. We have maybe about a few minutes. We can still quickly do VIP. We can do about 20 minutes. So let me just run through some comments. Yes, this is powerful. Let me. Connie, you are one of the strongest person I know. God, thank you. You're grown and you're glowing, beautiful. I'm in tears. Your story is a bestseller. I encourage you to write the book. Lisa can assist you if you have that. And yes, I do book coaching as well. So if you want to write your book, you can talk to me about that. Thank you. You are born for purpose. I love this. You are born for purpose. You are blessed and highly favored and flavored. Thank you for sharing your truth. God has equipped and protected you. Please remember that you cannot kill what God has anointed.
Amen.
May the blessings of God continue to shower you, Sister C. Thank you for sharing your truth. I was in tears. Just want to give you a big hug. May God continue to be your strength. Well said, sister. Or mess is a message, or test becomes a testimony. I like your strength. You know, when people see us smile, they wonder why. Regardless of our situation, we learn to be strong. Continue to be courageous. After the season of storms, there comes a calm. God bless you and keep you, sister. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Yes, I agree. So true. Yes, speak it, Alicia. You're such an inspiration. Thank you. So true. Yes, the healing part is the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. As a child, I went through this with some of the men that was with my mother. Yes, I do imagine it whenever I see kids. Thank you for sharing. I needed to hear this. Sending hugs, Andrea. Sending hugs, sis. Please remember that you cannot kill what God has anointed to live. I am praying for God, for a man of God. Thank you. I'm on the right track. God is good. Purpose can't die. And my sister always said, purpose can never die. Love you, Sister Connie. Thank you for lending me your ears and kind hearts to my, oh, that's you. And that's from Connett. She says, thank you for lending me your ears and kind hearts to my family who joined to support me. I thank you. And I just thank everybody who's on today. This was just awesome. This was just awesome. We are going to, I'm not even going to put on the ending sounds and so on. We are going to just switch over to VIP. And I tell you, you need to subscribe to the VIP lounge because this is where you get to chat, and we might not be there for more than 10 to 15 minutes based on the time. And Connett, you started with tears, but you are now smiling.
Yes.
You are now smiling, you know, a lot. And you have, like I say, you have healed so many today. And I'm sure that so many others are going to watch this and they are going to be healed. They're going to be healed. And yes, if you're on and you know that you have a particular situation that you're struggling with, you too can also make an appointment with me. And my rates are now, the rates that are going now are not the actual rates. So take hold of the prices that are going right now. I won't tell you what the prices are, but you can click the link. And if you don't see the link in the chat to make appointments with me, what you can do is that you can always connect with me on Facebook. And my name is just the same. It's Alicia Foot. Yes, I changed it to my good name. Well, I have new husband. Big up myself. Big up myself. Big up Connett. Well, our husband in the house. Good husband. Good up husband. Yes. All right. Everybody who knows me knows I'm crazy. All right. You know, I just bless God. And I just bless God. And I just thank God, you know, for this opportunity to share with people on this platform, because I know this is all Him. You know, this is all Him. And the links are in the chat, and you can click on that and you can make an appointment. You can also click that link if you want to get my book. You can click that link to get my book. The registration link is also there for the VIP lounge, because the tech support is throwing things in. Thank you so much, guys. And big up my tech support. You know, I give thanks to them for what they have been doing as well, because I could not do this. I could not have done this without the people in the background and the people who continually support me. And there are days that I feel like I don't want to go on, and they are like pulling me out. I bless God for my husband, you know, very supportive, make sure that everything is, you know, up and running and ready for the show. You'll never see him on because he stays in the background. He prefers it that way. You know, maybe one of the days I try to drag him out here, but I don't know how possible that is. All right. Anyway, guys, you know, thank you guys so much. And Connett, blessings to your marriage. You know, may God just bind you guys together with cords that cannot be broken. And I pray that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And every tongue that rise up against you in judgment, let them be condemned. And may the Lord, you know, He said, He will shut doors and He will open doors for you. He will open doors that no man can shut. And He'll shut doors that no man can open. And that is what I pray for you right now. And we bind up every forces of darkness that came against you to destroy you. But God was always with you, like you said. Bless the Lord. You know, thank you again, everybody, so much for coming on. If you know that you're a VIP, just hang on and let us just do this. All right. So I'm going to open the breakout rooms right now, and so that we can now go into the VIP lounge. I hope my because I know in the UK it's a little bit late, so I really hope that Miss Carter is still on, because that's our mental health practitioner. All right, thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And Connett, you need to stay put because we're going over together.
Oh yeah.
All right.